Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to Brewing with Magic. Well, I am super stoked. It is here. It is time. It is Innistrad Midnight Hunt spoiler season, which means we got Will with us. How you doing, Will?
Hey everybody.
I am excited about getting into these cards. How about you?
Very much so. I've been waiting for a new set to expand the 2022, so super stoked for this to come out.
Awesome. But before we start looking at all these amazing cards, we just want to thank all of you so much. We can't believe we're already over 1,000 subscribers, and we owe it all to you. This is so amazing. Thank you so much. Just a reminder, we are going live September 24th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to give away all kinds of fun stuff in appreciation for all of you subscribing, including a set booster box of Innistrad Midnight Hunt. But because we broke 1,000 subscribers, we're going to give away an additional box. So 2 boxes of Innistrad Midnight Hunt we're giving away now, including all kinds of other swag. Check the description down below to find out exactly what I'm talking about, and you're still eligible. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you hit it, and you're still eligible to win the prizes when we go live on September 24th, which reminds me, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to discuss the new DayNight Mechanic, because there are some cards in the set that will talk about it, and that way it's just out of the way. So let's first start with Day. If it becomes day or night, or if a day-bound permanent enters the battlefield, track day/night for the rest of the game. Okay, so that's just the first part on the card. Then, day reads like this. As it becomes day, transform all night-bound permanents. If a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. Then night reads, as it becomes night, transform all day-bound permanents. Permanents enter the battlefield night-bound. So if they have the option of either day-bound side and a night-bound side, they're automatically going to go ahead and come in on the night-bound part. And then it's if a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day next turn. So those are the 2 mechanics. Let's start getting into the cards. So first we have a 2-sided Planeswalker, Arlen the Pax Hope and Arlen the Moon's Fury. So the Pax Hope costs 1 green, 1 red, and 2 colorless, has 4 loyalty, and is day-bound. +1, until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1. So that's going to help you get around that no spells, because you're going to be casting it on their turn. And then -3, create 2 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. Pretty strong so far. I like that. Now, Arlen the Moon's Fury is also a 4 loyalty planeswalker with Nightbound. So if it's already nighttime, just going to come out on the Moon Fury side. You can +2, and you can add 1 red, 1 green mana to your mana pool, or pay 0. Until end of turn, Arlen the Moon's Fury becomes a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste. I have said so much for those 2 cards. Tell us what we're doing.
So I actually really enjoy this Planewalker. I mean, Gruul is definitely going to get a ton of bonus out of this card. With the haste mechanic on Arlen the Moon Fury. So if you're already night bound and you've already kind of like done a lot of things at the beginning to kind of like really start ramping down and hitting your opponents, then if you're night bound, she comes out and then immediately turns into a 5/5. You're hitting for 5. Indestructible, trample, haste. I mean, you just love those words put together. So you're definitely going to keep hitting to the dome. The front half, the day-bound side, why we like this one so much is because, again, she's kind of like a support character that helps the rest of your Gruul aggro deck be that much stronger. So if she comes down and you just want to, like, you know, expand your board a little bit because you're already doing some damage, but you want to get some value, that -3, making those 2/2 wolves, is really going to be helpful because then you can go into that as a definitely more aggressor. But the +1, if you have that support to protect her, then now makes it that much better for your aggro Gruul deck. Because then you're giving a creature flash and you're able to bring them in on their turn with a +1/1 additional counter, and it's just going to be so much more bonkers for them to deal with the aggro that you're going to be giving to them on that very next turn. So I love this. If you are a aggro player, then this definitely is going to be a fit into those Gruul aggro decks.
Yeah, I agree completely. I know certain decks are going to want Toski, but I think Toski's seeing less play. I think a lot of decks out there still might want a Chariot, but in a more aggressive shell, I definitely think this is going to be what people want in their deck. Definitely think fits into an aggressive shell. I think for the aggressive decks out there that want a solid 4-drop, ever since we lost Questing Beast, I think those decks have just lost a whole lot, and I definitely think this kind of fits in the place of that. Yeah, they can still block with the 2-drop or a 1-drop or something like that, but this has trample, so it kind of still does the same thing.
Yeah,
so.
And Questing Beast was a strong card in Eldraine. that really did a lot of damage, and it affected the board in so many ways. This doesn't hit the planeswalkers the same way, but having a 5/5 that can come out and immediately swing if you're already on the Nightbound is just a game changer in a aggro deck with that haste ability. But even the passive side, being able to kind of advance your board and things along those lines, getting that +1/+1 counter, it kind of like fits still into that, because what you're really doing is you're cheating them in, giving them the counter. So on your turn, you're still getting that advantage. So hopefully the goal is playing it right at their very end step, getting that a bonus for what you need, and then on your turn, you basically have another questing beast that you built in a different way. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I do like it. Okay, next we have another two-sided card, Enduring Angel, and the backside is Angelic Enforcer. So Enduring Angel is 3 white and 2 colorless. It is an angel. It's a 3/3 with flying, double strike, and you have hexproof. If your life total would be reduced to 0 or less, instead transform Enduring Angel and your life total becomes 3. Then if Enduring Angel didn't transform this way, you lose the game. We'll explain what that's doing in just a second. That's important. Then the backside, Angelic Enforcer, has flying. You still have hexproof. Angelic Enforcer's power and toughness are each equal to your life total. Whenever Angelic Enforcer attacks, double your life total. So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to see standard play. I'm not 100% sure. Why don't you explain to him what the, if it didn't transform, you lose the game, why that's there, and what you think about this card.
So Enduring Angel is a really cool card. It's high in cost. It is a 5-drop for a 3/3. And again, the hexproof on you is amazing. Flying double strike's always great. So that's really cool with the card. Reduction from 0 or less and gets transformed, you gain 3 life and you're still in the game. I think that's an amazing part to kind of like save you if you're right about to die. But then that last line, then if Enduring Angel didn't transform this way, you lose the game. So the cool part about this is, it's on the stack. An opponent can kill it. If they do, you're losing the game anyways because you're already at 0 or less.
Yep.
And then on top of that, when it says, didn't transform this way, you lose the game, it's doing that on purpose. So you can't do like copy mechanics on the card and get the value from the Angelic Enforcer side because you're only going to be making the Enduring Angel side, but it's making it so you can't get like an infinite loop of never dying. So it kind of like makes it so it's a one-time deal save with this card specifically that you can't copy. Now, if you have another Enduring Angel and you cast it, great. You're going to get that version. So it's just the way it changes. So basically, it's making it so you can't copy Angelic Enforcer, because if you do, it comes on, but it's not the Enduring Angel side. So it kind of limits that ability.
Basically, the dev team made it a fair card. You're preventing yourself from losing the game, but if they have a removal, you still lose the game, and you can't cheat this card over and over again. Seems fair.
Yeah, and the Angelic Enforcer is really awesome. Like, if you're able to get this on the battlefield initially, right, it comes in with whatever your power and toughness are equal to. So it's going to come in as a 3/3 initially. So whenever it does attack, it doubles your life total. So this card specifically can kind of get out of control. I mean, it could still be killed. I mean, you could still just kill it with like actual just kill spells. But it can really kind of get you back into the game. It can kind of get you back into, that position of stabilizing. The only problem that I see with this card initially off the bat when I first saw it was just that its life total was a 3/3. So there's just so many answers right now that can kill a 3 toughness. If this came out as a 3/4, I would have been like, wow, this card not only can it kind of protect itself away from being like, bolted for 3, but it can kind of get you to that next area just in case, maybe even as a safe card. But the bonus that I see with this card is it does fit into the angel packages right now, and angels are just strong in general. So being able to gain so much life, and maybe this is a 1 of or a 2 of in that deck to kind of like support yourself. So if you're running like Righteous Valkyries and you're going that route to like, really just like blow up and go that route, it's great. But, sometimes those angel decks can kind of get shut down a little bit quicker, and this might be your saving grace. Where you're able to, on turn 5, you can't do anything else. You're going to die to like mono red, but they don't have a bullet. They're going to go at your face. This card specifically could be there, and then you take the hit, it flips, your turn, you have a 3, you swing, and, you're doubling your life total, maybe drawing something else. There might be a way out. So that's how I'm looking at this card going into it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, once again, I didn't see it from that side. The fact that it's an angel, this could be your 5-drop in the deck that really, like you said, helps turn the tides. Because you threw this the turn before, and then you go ahead and they try to kill you in any way. If it flips to the backside, you throw Righteous Valkyrie, another creature on that turn. You're gaining life. Now this is a 5/5. It swings. Now your life's what, a 10? Like it just could get out of control quick. So that's awesome. Okay, well, this is Innistrad, so get used to it, folks. We have another double-sided card. They're pretty much gonna be everywhere. That's what the set does. So we have Dire Overlord, or Tovolar the Midnight Scourge. So Dire Overlord is 1 green, 1 red, 1 colorless, legendary creature, human werewolf. Comes out as a 3/3. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I mean, already a super strong ability. That's a 3/3 Toski for werewolves, right? And wolves. And then, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves, it becomes night. Then transform any number of human werewolves you control, and it is daybound. Then, the backside is whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. We're still got that going. That's awesome. Then you can pay 1 green, 1 red, and X. Target wolf or werewolf you control gets +X/+O until end of turn and gets trample, and it's nightbound. So, cool thing is, it doesn't tap for that ability, and you don't have to pay the X. So if you have 2 creatures you need through, and you have 2 green and 2 red, both of them can get trample. I think this is a pretty strong card. How do you like this?
Yeah, this is going to be amazingly good. This card specifically, when I was reading it, I was going, I'm going to build around this. I'm going to make a werewolf deck. I am going to make sure that I'm getting the most benefit from it, and I'm running 4 of this in the deck. And the reasoning I'm so excited about this card is because, again, whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to your player, draw a card. Any wolf, any werewolf. So if you're building around that mechanic and this guy touches the battlefield, and we'll just say that maybe you only have 2 cards left in hand or 3 cards left in hand, depending on, you know, whatever you've been playing, and you're able to attack with 1 or 2 wolves, then you're drawing 2, and you're instantly refilling your hand back up, and it's getting great. So that makes him, just on the human side, good. And again, you know, we talked about the 3/3 with the Angel. You know, it's the same thing. You know, the toughness is kind of rough just due to the fact with so much removal. But now that black has like instant removal, it almost doesn't matter. You might as well play these cards because they're going to give you value, and the value outweighs the loss of, you know, the expenditure. So in this case, at the end of your upkeep, you have the 3 and you flip him. Not only is he a 4/4, or if he's nightbound initially, we'll just say you're already nightbound and he drops onto the battlefield. This is already what you're getting. Yeah. So then not only are you still drawing cards, but he's a 4/4. So now he's technically better than that 3/3. He's protecting himself. And then the following turn, or the turn that he already flips, and now you have the mana available. Now you're getting trample with your werewolf, and you know you can either pump him, you can pump whoever. As long as it's a werewolf or a wolf, you're pumping him, and you're getting through for that extra damage. And now, like we talked about earlier with Arlen, imagine that you dropped that planeswalker. On turn 3 or turn 4, depending if you ramped it up, and then you played 2 wolves initially, the -3, and now you're dropping him, and we'll say, you didn't play a spell the following turn or whatnot, and Arlen flipped. I mean, this is insane. Not only do you have like the 2/2s, but then you have the 0, which is the 5/5, and then you have Tovar. So then when they swing, it's just so much value. It is ridiculous. So I'm super stoked about this card. I think it's going to be great, and I'm excited for werewolves.
You stole what I was going to say. Come on, man. No, what I was going to say, I agree with you completely. What I love is what they're doing with the on-curve Ghoul right now. So basically, if by turn 1 or turn 2, you can get it into nighttime, and then you're going to stay on curve for 3 and 4, then you're, like you just said, Tovar, the Midnight Scourge, comes out as a 4/4, and that means on turn 4, you're only going to cast 1 spell. You throw the Arlen, the Moon's Fury. So now you've got a 4/4 that you could potentially give trample to later. You've got a 5/5 indestructible haste with trample. I mean, the curve is super strong right now for Ghoul, and I think that those are both going to see play. Get ready to spend some wild cards, folks. So, do we have any more 2-sided cards? No, I'm joking. Of course we do. So this one's kind of fun. It starts on the front side as a white creature, becomes a red creature. We have Brutal Cathar, which becomes Moonrage Brute. So, Brutal Cathar is 1 white, 2 colorless. It is a human soldier werewolf. It's a 2/2. When this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. It's daybound. And then if it flips, it's a 3/3 first strike with ward, pay 3 life, and it's nightbound. But that's strong. I mean, a 3/3 first strike with ward, pay 3 life. That means if you try to target remove Moonrage Brute, you're getting your 3 damage to your opponent no matter what. That's happening, and dealing with a 3/3 first strike, it's no joke. That is tough. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, mono white has a lot of strong 3-drops right now. I mean, Redain, Elite Spellbinder, where does this fit in? But I think this is strong. Talk to me, Will.
Yeah, I actually really like this card. And it's weird because I really like it for the human side, to be honest. Exiling target creature and opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield is pretty strong. So you're removing one of their best cards right off the bat.
Great tempo.
And then say you flip it, and now it becomes the werewolf, and you're nightbound right now. It's 3/3. And then the cool part about it is you've already kind of like messed with your opponent enough, and now you're putting in a strong enforcer to like deal with the extra damage on the front end. Now the cool part is, what I was thinking about this was, if you wanted to go with either a mono white build, or even if you wanted to go with even a Boros build around this card, I thought it would be really cool because you can kind of disrupt the tempo with some of the other white cards that we currently have that mess with the opponent's hand, makes things more costly. Redain, which you just spoke about, that makes board wipes a little bit more costly as well. So you're messing with their hand, but you're also messing with the board. And then if you're going a Boros build, you're already doing that anyways now, which is kind of cool. But then you can equip and start actually dealing extra damage because this guy has first strike. So if you're able to, gain more life, if you're able to deal double damage, or if you get trample on it, there's just so many really cool mechanics. And I think he fits really perfectly right now with a lot of the mono white cards that we're seeing that are already hate bears that we're already kind of like seeing in the deck. So I think he's a really cool addition to that kind of archetype.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. And if we get the right mana, I mean, you could do something crazy like on turn 4, you can throw the Arlen on the Pax Hope side. You could +1 it so that you have flash creatures. And then if you have the mana up, your opponent throws, I don't know, say a Goldspan Dragon. Now Brutal Cathar has flash. You throw it in, it's a 3/3 now instead of a 2/2, and you exile their Goldspan Dragon before it attacks. It doesn't get any treasures because of how you're targeting it. There's a lot of now. I mean, who's playing green, red, white? Probably nobody. I'm just saying there are a lot of fun things that we can. Right? We'll see. But this is a part of Magic that we love over here. Just all these crazy ideas when new cards come out. It just sounds like a blast. So
yeah.
Okay. We're gonna get into a couple of non-two-sided cards now. Are you okay with that, Will?
Yeah. I think I'm fine.
So, I think green's getting a lot of really fun stuff here, and here is one of them here. We have Sarath the Viper's Fang. It's 2 green, 2 colorless for a legendary creature, Human Warlock. It's a 3/4. Other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof. You can pay 1 and tap this, untap another target creature or land you control. So not only can we maybe go Death Touch Tribal now with Finn the Fangbearer, but we can kind of pseudo protect our creatures by using this secondary untap another target creature or land you control and giving it hexproof. Kind of neat. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, when I saw this card come out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually really, really cool, and especially if you're playing green. Imagine all of your creatures that are on curve. We'll just say that we're starting off like, as your 2 drops and your 3 drops, you're going kind of into that area, and then she comes out on 4. Then, you're swinging. We have now those creatures that are maybe like 2/2s, 3/3s, 4/4s, whatever they are at that time going in. Now they're bigger threats because even if they're kind of like on curve, if they have a bigger creature, maybe they just have like something with defense. Well, now you have Death Touch. So you're forcing them to now make that block, and you're going to get through, or you're going to remove whatever they have, which is already great. The other thing that I like about it, so say you, and then very next turn drop, 2 Werewolf Pack Leaders, right? So you have 2 3/3s. And
living the dream, huh? 2 of them?
Yeah, 2 of them right off the bat. You're like, boom, boom, boom.
Just 2 Werewolf Pack Leaders.
2 in your hand.
Okay.
And instead of them removing it, they can't because, they have hexproof now. So that's what makes Sarath so good, is just that she can protect them. They'd have to remove Sarath to get to them now, which is great. So you're protecting your 2 3/3s. But then if they make it to the next turn, now you're swinging, you're drawing cards because your pack leaders are giving you that ability to draw cards. They have Death Touch. So a lot of synergy, and that's just mono green. But if you throw in Finn the Fangbearer, or if you make this into, green black, like with Golgari, or if you want to go any color, to be honest now, and you have Finn in there, you kind of change the mechanic, and now you can win through Death Touch, through poison counters, and kind of go that route. So it really kind of re-energized Finn the Fangbearer with Sarath. So I know it's a 2-card combo, But the cool part about it is, I mean, we've seen really cool 2-card combos, and I think she's really going to be a fun addition, just to both color types.
Yeah, if you're playing the Golgari version of the Blood on the Snow deck right now, Finn might go in, but it might not even need Finn. I mean,
Yeah.
now you have all these little 1/1s that all have Death Touch. It's already a tough deck to beat. And now you can't chump block anything without losing your creature? Like, I think there's a lot of strength there. Okay, let's move on to a card that I'm slightly excited about here. Sigarda, Champion of Light. 2 white, 1 green, 1 colorless, legendary creature angel. It's a 4/4, flying trample. That's why I'm excited. Who thought that you needed to get excited about trample on flying creatures? Well, when you got eye twitches flying around, when you've got little 1/1 birds flying around, all kinds of different things, that is a huge keyword right now. She also reads, humans you control get +1/+1 and has Coven. When Sigarda attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a human creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So not only are we getting werewolves, not only are we getting zombies, but they are trying to give us some human love too. I definitely think there's potential for this in Standard. What do you think?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, Selesnya, it hasn't really been one of our strongest colors, just because what cards we've been giving to Selesnya. So unless you're going like counters or you're trying to go landfall, you're not really seeing much beyond that. So this is really going to be cool to kind of revitalize Selesnya and make them more of an aggro-esque deck. And I mean, think about the mono white humans that we already have. Think about, how we can expand or copy tokens already with like Selesnya in general. So being able to get out more humans, kind of go that wide mechanic and giving them that +1/+1 counter. But the other cool part I like about her is that if they have, different powers, and there's so many humans that come out as a 1/1, a 2/2, maybe like a 3/3 or whatnot, and it's different things that you can kind of see and manipulate around, even the bigger ones at the far end. So the ability for her to kind of like keep refilling your hand, I think that's the really cool part about her, because that's another drawback in white. You're not really drawing a lot of cards, so you have to use hopefully like green spells to kind of like pull that back in. But she's a hand refiller, and I think that's really cool. So I'm kind of excited to see what more humans come out and what cards we can kind of build around Sigarda and a human kind of like tribe to win games.
Yeah, and the nice part is if you've got a 1 power, a 2 power, a 5, whatever, if you have the conditions met where when she attacks you get to look at the top 5 cards, only she has to attack. That's the neat part.
Yep.
So if you have a board state that's kind of getting stale, but you can attack safely with her in the air, you can kind of start to try to figure out how to get around this board state and try to win the game. And lastly, I think there is a lot of synergy with Maja. So turn 4, you're throwing her into a turn 5 Maja, which is also a human, gives you more humans. This pumps them. I don't know. I think there's a lot of synergy there. I really like it.
Well, yeah, too, and she's giving the +1/+1 to humans, and he gives +1/+1 to other creatures. So they're also lords within themselves. So
Yep.
yeah, it's really cool that you can literally create a human deck now with lords.
Yeah, and when you throw it, Sigarda becomes a 5/5. If you throw it, then throw a land down, now you've got a 1/1 human that actually becomes a 2/2, 3/3 human plus Maja itself. Now you've got 3 creatures with different powers right there.
Yep.
Just that turn. So that's pretty strong. I think there's a lot of synergy there. Okay, let's go to the next card. We have Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nephalia. I love it. 1 black, 1 colorless for a legendary creature human wizard. It's a 1/1. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with decay, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay. It can't block. When it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. So you get to keep your 2/2 black zombie for as long as you don't attack. Once you attack with it, you're gonna have to sack it at the end of that combat. I kind of like it, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I want to just say one thing real quick. Sacrifice mechanic. You have a built-in sacrifice mechanic. That means literally every turn he's making a 2/2. You can sack it to draw cards. You can sack it to make treasure. You can sack it to some kind of outlet. So you literally have a permanent sack outlet on the deck. And I think that is what makes this card crazy right now, because there are so many black-green decks, mono-black decks that utilize, or even Orzhov. that utilize a sack mechanic of some sort to generate value. And he does that by himself now, as long as you have an additional card, of course, to use as a sack outlet for it. But he's creating a creature that you don't care about. You 100% don't care about. And at the end of the day, that's all it's there for. And I think he's going to see a ton of play in a lot of decks because of that ability.
Okay, well, let's, I can't wait to find out. Okay, next we have Galvanic Iteration, 1 red, 1 blue for an instant. Whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and it has flashback, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red. So, I mean, a card that we've seen many, many times over. They've just added flashback to it.
Yep.
And it doesn't see a whole lot of play now. So, I don't know. I'm a little blah on this.
Yeah, I saw this card, and I have a couple theories. Like, one of my biggest ones right now is Magecraft as a whole. Can we manipulate it around Magecraft decks? Because you have like spells that are like 1 cost, 2 cost, little things like that. You have creatures on the board. You're trying to go, big right now, and we have, different ways of maybe kind of like copying it. That was one idea that I had. The other idea was, in some kind of value deck. So where basically you're trying to ramp up to get to something, and you're using this as maybe like to create another treasure. So you're copying to create 2 treasures, something along those lines. It's in the graveyard. But then when you get to the end and you're trying to cast like we'll say a 5 or a 6 drop spell, somewhere around there, but you've already created enough treasures, you've created some value on the back end, then you can flash this back, copy that spell, and get a massive value out of it. So the flashback is what's going to make this card, I think, more playable in a lot more decks than what we've seen in the past, where you either foretell it or you have to cast it in that turn to get the actual use of the card. I think the flashback is what it was going to make this card a lot more playable.
So basically what you're saying is, if you wanted a 5th or a 6th Auron's Epiphany in your deck, you just add some of these?
Yeah, 100%. So crazy, right?
Yeah, that's funny. We'll see if it gets any play. I'm not 100% sure yet. And it looks like we have got one of the commons snuck into our preview, so let's go ahead and see what this is. Famished Forgers is 1 red, 3 colors for a vampire. That's a 4/3. When Famished Forgers enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, add 3 red, and then you can pay 2 colors and a red, discard a card, draw a card.
So I liked this card, and I really wanted to add it in here just because of the value that it can add to red. And I know it's on the high end, but what it can do is basically pay for itself to an extent. So if you're going wide, you have a lot of like small, attacking creatures, or maybe you're just doing like 1 damage or something to the face. That's all you need. It had to have lost life, and that's it. So then you pay your 4, and you drop a 4/3 now. It gives you an additional 3, so that 3 can pay for another red creature of some sort, or even a spell that you wanted to play that turn. So you're getting 2 for 1 for the card itself. The only other reason I really like this card is because you can pay 3, discard a card, and draw a card. In red, to filter through your hand is really important. So if you start to get flooded with lands, this is a way to kind of remove that, draw into something else, and kind of keep yourself going. The cool part is you do it on their end step. So you're just waiting for them to wrap up their turn. You drop the land, draw your card, go into your next turn. Here you go. You've got something hopefully better than what you had. So that's the reason I like this card. I know it's a little bit on the high end curve for red, but I feel like the value you get from it is twofold. So we'll see.
Okay, so basically it kind of reads, this is a 4/3 for 1 mana as long as you have 4 mana on the battlefield. Yep. Kind of. And it gets around things like Eliminate, which we don't have to deal with in Standard 2022 or regular Standard, but I'm just saying effects like that, it also gets around those. So that's kind of neat, interesting. For a common, we'll see if it gets any play. Okay, and lastly for the day, we have some new lands coming out. They've shown us 5 so far. I don't think we're going to get the whole 10, but that would be amazing. So I'll read one of them, and then we'll just tell you what colors we got. So the first one is Overgrown Farmland. It's going to be a green-white land. Overgrown Farmland enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Tap it for green or white. So basically, all of these lands come into play tapped if they're the first or second land, but as long as they're the third plus, they come into play untapped. So kind of the opposite of some of the lands we already have out there, like the creature lands. In that respect. And then we have white-green, we have white-blue, we have red-black, blue-black, and red-green. So We've got all the color fixing kind of that we needed, as long as we can make them work coming into play untapped at the right moment. So do you think these lands are going to see a lot of play? I do.
Yeah, 100%. And the only reason being, it's because if you really look at the lands we currently have, right? So we do have some dual lands, right? You have to pick which one it comes in as, though. So you're really only giving a primary option. And then you have the Snarls. The Snarls are good, but sometimes they're not, because if you don't have another land that you can showcase, then they're coming in tapped. So you're not really getting 100% of the value that you want, because on turn 4, it's a feel bad if that comes in tapped and you needed that and you lose the game. So these are definitely going to be a lot more proactive in that set of, hey, it's 3rd, 4th turn, I need that land to come in tapped. These are the ones that are going to save you. And they're in alternate colors that we currently have right now. So it's definitely going to expand that color profile to kind of give us that like trinome back in the day where you have 3 different colors that you can play. So I think 3-color decks are going to start to kind of revive a little bit more, because right now single color and 2-color decks have been really like the staple. But I think because of these lands, we're going to start seeing more of those tricolor decks. People are going to be a little bit more experimental. Plus, on top of that, the artwork for these cards are just amazing. They're freaking amazing.
They
so,
are
I love them.
Very beautiful artworks. I absolutely love them. So, well, that's going to wrap up our spoilers for today. I hope you really enjoyed this. Before I sign off, Will, is there anything that you would like to say to our amazing Brew Crew members?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody. We've really been working super hard to try to put out some really fun, great competitive content, try to keep you guys informed with all the information that we possibly can. And we just want to say thank you. Without you guys, we can't keep doing this. So we really appreciate everything, all your support. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Okay, well, thank you very much for being with us, Will. As always, as more spoilers come out, we will keep bringing you more videos like this. Don't forget, September 24th, we are going live at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to give away all kinds of goodies. Check the description down below to find out exactly what I'm talking about. You still have time. Hit that subscribe button if you want to be involved in that as well. And as always, until next time, have a blast in the arena.